are. All right, we are here live with Girls Chat. So it does show live on my end over here. Good evening, everybody. Let me get back so I can see Kanisha.
Good evening.
All right, there we go. All right. So, good evening, everybody. You are tuned in to Girls Chat, which is affiliated with the Confident Woman brand. And I am Tanisha R. Atkins, and I am the president of the Confident Woman brand, where we are on a mission to help you to get branded, help you to get branded, to be brilliant, resilient, admirable, notable, and dynamic, confident women. So, that is the mission with the Confident Woman brand. Y'all excuse me today. I have a little throat situation, but I definitely wanted to continue to press through and keep on schedule with Girls Chat for today. And so our guest of the day is joining me, Mrs. Kanisha Brenton. So y'all
Yes.
welcome her. Hi, Kanisha.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here today.
Yeah,
So we
so
can
go
have a
ahead.
little chat.
Yes, I'm excited. Even though my throat, I was like, no, we are doing
That's
Girls Chat.
okay.
I'm going to keep pressing through. So go ahead and
Yeah.
introduce yourself for those that may don't know you. Just tell us who you are. Tell us what you do.
So I am Kanisha Brinson. I'm a teacher, a mother, a wife, and also a motivational speaker, president of Queens Pouring into Queens. Um, Basically, what I do is I just go out and tell people my story. Um, my one true
Okay.
gift in life is just, speaking and empowering others. So that's who I am and what I do. I take education to heart, so I love to go out and educate outside of school settings, educating women on just growth, on how they can take their pain and turn it into purpose or turn it into power, how they can take their pain and benefit from it, and how to just teaching women how to take things that they go through in life and use it for, their success. You take it and use it as seeds that's been sown and how to water those seeds because truly things are not happening to us, they're happening for us. And the moment that click in your mind, everything about your life shift, everything changes. The way you see things, the way you see people, how the patience you have with people, your giving change, everything changes. Your
Right.
mental health changes whenever you realize that nothing is happening to you, it's happening for you.
Well, listen, that was a great welcome, girl. You already on the road, and I'm so glad because I
Yeah,
got this little throat situation. I'm
that's
glad because I
okay.
know you can handle the fort today.
Yes, I got
But
us. I got
I'm
us.
I'm gonna start us off because I love what you said. Um, that things are not happening to us or to you, they're happening for you. And I'm gonna just probably share this little piece, and then I'm gonna let you just run with it, girl. But
Okay.
I was actually about 2016. I made a transition. A lot of people that know me know that I come from the theater world. That's what I was doing for probably like the last 10 or 12 years. So when I kind of crossed over, they were like, well, what are you doing? But God kind of transitioned me that way. And
Mhm.
so when he transitioned me, I started feeling like there was something in me that I needed to do that I wasn't doing. You know,
Yeah.
I felt it, and it was just big. It's like I felt it. I don't know if you ever just felt like that, like you can feel. It's almost like a mom when she's, carrying the baby. It's like it's in there, and within a matter of time it's gonna come out. So you start kind
Right.
of anticipating it and thinking about how the baby gonna look. Well, God began to say to me at that point, that I'm doing something new. And so I was like, okay, Lord, the scriptures that say, look, behold, I'm doing something new. I was like, okay, well, we doing something new. Let's get it. I'm ready. But what I did not know was that that preparation season and the things that I went through was just like when a mom gives birth, when she carries.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hardship. There was a lot of things that I had to overcome, like really getting to know myself, getting to know that you're too sensitive over here. Um, fell out
Hmm.
with this friend or this and that happened. And so, you think if God come to you and say, behold, I'm doing something new, you don't expect it to be like all of that. It almost made me want to turn around and go
Exactly.
the other way. But one of the things that happened to me was a lot of my relationships were affected, and I was crying about that so much. And God said, you don't understand that this didn't happen to you, this happened for you. So when you said
Yes.
that, I'm like, yes. It was like at that moment when I caught it, I was like, okay, Lord, I don't get that all the way, but it's like as I
Mm,
meditated on it, I caught that.
yeah,
It happened for me. It was like, look what you emerged into.
yeah.
Look what you came from, you know. And a lot of times when we're going through things like that, and when you talk about purpose and pain, we know that we have a purpose. We know that God called us to do amazing things, but we can't always foresee those things that's going to pop up in on our
Mm-hmm.
journey. And so that's what I want to talk about today, you know, the purpose and the pain, because you know, if God shows you a glimpse of something, like when you're pregnant, you go to the doctor and they may do an ultrasound and you may see the baby,
Right.
but
Yeah,
that don't mean that baby just gonna, you know, things are gonna be. It might be a little something, you know.
exactly.
So go ahead, Miss Kanisha. What you
Yeah.
think about that?
So that's a beautiful testimony, by the way. Thanks for sharing that, because a lot like you, a lot of my relationships was affected whenever I started to reach out and do different things in the community as well as amongst women, period. And I realized that so many women are going through so many things and so many transitions, just like you said, we're transitioning from one area of expertise to another.
Mm-hmm.
Transitioning, some women are transitioning from one marriage to another. Some women are transitioning from just being all about me to motherhood, like you talked about, and
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel good. That's the thing about it. We want to turn back, like you said, because it doesn't feel good, and it's so easy for us to quit instead of
Mm-hmm.
pressing through. Like you said today, you press through.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you was affected in a certain way, but you had to press through. You had a certain circumstance that you had to overcome, and you had to say,
Right.
regardless of this circumstance, I'm going to do this. But you was committed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of times the pain and the commitment we don't want to really go through. But I mean, just as a flower needs the water, the rain, and the sun, we have to have the same thing. Because I would not appreciate the life that I live. I would not know how to go into the classroom and motivate kids who are hurting. And when I see kids, like you said, it's a beautiful thing with being a mother, but
Mm-hmm.
also just being a teacher and seeing kids who are like right in their pain. Because a lot of times as kids, we don't have control of a lot of things. So teaching kids made me realize that I am God's child and I don't have control over the things that He's doing in my life. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I need to cherish that moment because it's going to be a token, later on that I can share and pass on to somebody else. Because
Right.
with no pain, you have no testimony. I have not heard a testimony that changed me or affected me or that I really listened to that had no ups and downs. You would have to take me on a roller coaster ride. And that's literally how life is. You
Mm-hmm.
have to be okay with the ups, you have to be okay with the downs. But I'm just being around women, I'm realizing that pain brings about attitude and not in a
Mm-hmm.
good way. So when I encounter women with a bad or a negative attitude, it used to get on my nerves. When I was young, I was like, getting back with them because I had my own pain. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how could you do this to me?
Mm-hmm.
Take it personal. How could you do this to me? How could you treat me in such a way? But just realizing that everybody's dealing with some type of pain. Everybody
That's
has some
true.
type of pain, and really, some kids come to me in fifth grade, and some of them already dealt with things, and they know how to share it. They use it as a testimony. But I realize that a lot of us are right in the midst of our testimony. It's like we're constantly adding to it. That's what life is anyway. It's a
Mm-hmm.
constant, addition to your testimony. But don't what we don't want to do is while we're experiencing pain or transitioning is develop a negative or a bad attitude. And that's what I'm realizing about people, and it's all in your words. Like you said, you had to change your thinking about what was happening in your
Right.
life. You had to say, this is not happening to me, it's happening for me. And
Right.
the moment that women realize that a lot of things that's happening is happening for them, I think that it'll change our attitude. We'll be able to work together as sisters.
You
We'll
know,
be able to heal our
you were so
community.
right about that, because the thing is, you know, we think that we can go to new levels with old people. And
Exactly.
it's a process because you already have to, God already got us begin to shift and work in your attitude and your mindset. So you can't always stay around the familiar, just like when he told Abraham, you know, come out from among the people who you knew, who you grew
Exactly.
up with, your cool people, the one you hang with. I need you to come out of that because see, we going to a new territory. And
Exactly.
hey, get your mindset together now. I don't know if God may use you to be the one to come back and get them or whatever. We don't know about all that, but just focus on you. And I did this
Obedience.
segment on Morning Coffee, and I talked about how the Bible says to fix your eyes on what lies before you and
Yes.
mark out a path for your feet. And sometimes you have to do it alone. You know, it gets
Right.
lonely when
It
you
does.
Because sometimes you feel like you don't have nobody and you want to pick up the phone and you want to call that old friend, but you know that
Right.
old friend gonna have that old mindset, and before
Mm-hmm.
you know it, you're gonna be back at that starting line. So it
That's
just,
right.
and God sometimes will have to create some situations and allow some things for you to have to move forward because He know you're never gonna leave those people if
Exactly. And
something
I
don't
mean, that's just
happen.
our personality because we're caretakers. So we
Right.
want to take care of everybody. But what stood out to me and what you said was the you, what
Hmm.
lies ahead of you. And I
Yes.
think that, just in our community as sisters, that we don't do enough of allowing women to grow, allowing them to change. We'll tell them you used to be this way, or, you don't call me that
Hmm.
much anymore. Or, ever since you started doing this, you act in this certain type of way. We need to stop that.
Yeah,
We need
you're
to
right.
stop shaming women for changing and rearranging their life.
Mm-mm.
When if God talked about being born again, why am I being shamed or constantly belittled for being different,
Hmm.
for wanting
Yes.
to change, for wanting something new, for accepting, for finally accepting what God had for me? Because for so many years we'll go on doing what we want to do. I know I'm like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
hey God, this is what I want. Put your blessings and your miracles on it. Water it, make it grow. It don't work like that.
It
It
don't
don't
work
work
like
like that. I,
that.
I tell people all the time, I wanted to be a lawyer because I thought that the voice and the power that I had, that's what I wanted to do with it. But that's not what God wanted for me. When I look at
Right.
lawyer pay and teacher pay, I'm like, oh my goodness, I made a money mistake. But no, I don't. I honestly don't feel like when I come do this or when
Hmm.
I go out and educate young children, I honestly don't feel like I'm working
Hmm.
because I want to be just like Jesus. I want to go out
Hmm.
and teach people for free. If
Right.
I could wake up every day and do just that, go out and pull somebody else up,
Hmm.
instead of pulling them down, that's what I want to do. And we do put a lot of pressure on women who are changing. Like if your girlfriend stop calling you, she get a new relationship, have a baby or something, we take it personal, like, oh, she don't fool with
Hmm.
me no more. It's not that. It's that
It's
she
not
is
even
literally.
about you. I hear you kind of saying it's
Exactly.
not even, and that's a growth thing. You have to be
Hmm.
mature to get that. For you to look and put those demands and expectations on another woman or person, period. To
Yeah,
say you're supposed to still have a baby, still get married, still get a new house, still work 9 to 5, and still be my therapist. Some of our friends need therapists, and I've been
yes,
saying that like all season long. Some of us really need to talk to somebody and stop trying to call our friend every 5 minutes and tell them
that's
what
right.
your husband did. Get your therapist, baby, because
Get
this,
a
you
therapist.
can't be all up in somebody's world like that. I know we
That's
appreciate
it.
we have our girl time where we vent to each other. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying for you to put those demands on your
On
girlfriend, like you
somebody
have
else.
to be there for me.
Right,
We
right.
gotta grow
And,
up.
and another thing, since you talked about therapists, is mental health. I'm just experiencing a lot of people, a lot of women who are battling mental illness and they will not seek help. And I want women to understand that it's nothing wrong with going to a therapist or going, check on you mentally, make sure that you're okay
Mhm.
because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And
That's
if you
right.
suffering mentally, you can't help nobody and you can't help yourself really. So just making sure that holistically that you're okay as a woman.
Hmm.
Like, am I
That's
spending enough time with myself? Am I taking care of me? And don't feel guilty about it because a lot of times we feel guilty about taking care of ourselves and just
right.
setting those boundaries. Because if I've experienced so much pain in my life, and I'm now trying to heal. I'm healing. I'm in the process of healing. I don't need somebody else trying to talk bad or down about what I'm doing in my life
Hmm.
for me. And you're right. They need to see a therapist. They really do
Absolutely,
because
I agree.
pain can be overwhelming sometimes.
Yes, it
Pain can be
can.
overwhelming. And it's no pill that you can take for the pain that we're talking about. There's
That's
no,
right.
you really have to seek God's face every day because every day is going to be something new. And you know what? We can't be afraid of it and we can't run from it because that's what the Lord told us about being in his army. We know the
Hmm.
end result, but why do we get up every day and act as if he haven't told us that the end is victory?
Yeah, that's
So
it.
I'm okay with waking up and fighting battles every day because I realize that whose side I'm on. I realize
Hmm.
whose side I'm on. And women, we just have to be the pillars of our community, and go and get ourselves healthy so we can heal other sisters, heal our children, because it's nothing worse than trying to heal as an adult. Why don't we raise healthy children? That
Hmm.
way, when they come to these battles and they have that pain, they know just how to deal with it. They know who to
That's
go
it.
to.
And we talking about like self-care and stuff, and we hear this word like more and more now in our community, but we really need to, we need to get it, not just hear it, but get it.
Hmm.
Like you cannot run, you a machine, and you cannot just run and run and run and run and run and run
That's
because you're
right.
gonna crash, you're gonna break down. And I'm finding that self-care is something that has to actually be scheduled. You can't just sneak
Mm,
in self-care. You gotta schedule self-care. I started
that's
this
good. I
ritual
didn't
because
think of that.
you do. I used to do this thing where I'm like, I'm in a rush, I'm just gonna take a shower. And I started to, something just clicked and was like, why don't you take a bubble bath sometimes?
Mm,
So just that right there, putting my Alexa on, just soft music, and I found that it was so relaxing and it just helps me to de-stress. And I said, I need to schedule things. I don't need to
right,
wait and get a break in the day. I need to take time because I matter. I'm important. And I can get on here and encourage women to be great and awesome. But if I'm not taking care of myself from the inside,
right.
eventually my machine gonna stop, and then
Hmm.
what's gonna happen?
You
Somebody
have
gonna
nothing for
be
yourself or nobody
encouraging
else.
me.
That's
So
right.
you have to
You be
schedule
shut
that.
down. You're
Right.
right about that, and I'm going to take that into consideration because I am, like you said, on the fly. I'll try to get it in here and there. No, it has to be a conscious decision and a scheduled time for
Yeah,
you.
it does because you matter. I think what I want to just a lot of people, even with the Confident Woman brand, to know is that you matter, and let's not just say it, but live our lives like we matter. For some
Hmm.
people, they have adult kids, and they go out their way so much to be there for the adult kids that they just broke down all over again. When you raise your
That's
kids and they
right.
grown, that's supposed to be your time, but we having a
It's your
problem
time.
cutting that cord, and we are just over. I mean, I'm telling you from experience, like I've watched my own mom do that, and I'm like, listen, let me tell you something. You're tired. You're getting
Hmm.
too old for this. You can't do everything. It's okay to say no. And I think we have a problem saying no sometimes because you get criticized so much
You
for not
do.
being perfect. You
You
know,
do.
that's why
And
I
I
want
think
to
that's
teach.
painful too, though.
It
That's
is very
painful
painful.
when you're constantly trying to take care of you and everybody's criticizing you for taking care of you.
Hmm.
That's painful.
Or they'll say, "Oh, well, she got a babysitter." When I was growing up, I didn't send my kids to babysitter, and that's why you was stressed out. You was mean. You was beating on your kids. Can we keep that real?
Keep it real. Keep it
I keep it
real.
real on girls' chat, so don't y'all be
Keep it
offended.
real.
I'm just telling you, like you got to take those pressures and demands off you because somebody say, "Well, when I was growing up, that was a whole different time, a whole different generation. A lot of
Exactly.
things they didn't know back then. It's a lot of resources they didn't have in place. So I don't even know how we got over there, but somebody obviously needed to hear that. So we are talking about
Yeah.
purpose and pain
Purpose and
today.
pain.
Kanisha, tell me, how did you discover your purpose? Like, because a lot of people hear that word too. That's another thing that we hear, and that word is becoming a cliche, and it don't need to be a cliche. So, how did you discover your purpose?
Um, I think that it's always been there, but I was ashamed of the pain. I was very shameful of the pain and the things that I experienced as a young woman, and a lot of the situations I put myself in. But I think that I first identified it whenever I was in college
You
because
think
I
so?
had strong people around me that empowered me. Um, I I've been knowing since a teenager that I had a voice. I didn't know what I can do with it because I can't sing like Beyonce, and I don't want to be a politician, and
Right.
but it was something inside of me that I had been running. When you run from something, like when something is constantly pulling at you and
Mm-hmm.
you're like trying to get away from it, but it's no getting away from it. At every day somebody's asking me, can you speak about this, can you do this, can you come talk to this person, can and even when I would turn away from it. But I'm gonna share that this is when I really identified that God wanted me to go out and speak to other people. Is I was in college and I got into a car accident, totaled my car, and at the time I had one of my tooth was knocked out, and I was very ashamed of it. And what I said, the enemy is trying to shut me up
Mm.
because the one thing that I love most about myself was my smile. I'm like, oh my God, I can brighten up a room with this smile. I realized that it's important to have a beautiful smile, but I
Mm-hmm.
was missing a tooth, and that tooth was in the front, and you could see it. So I didn't speak, but I kept turning down different times, to go out, and my purpose and my calling is, to turn others towards Christ by telling my story and by listening to others and empowering them to do something with their story. So a lady invited me. She had this group called Gems, and she was a pastor's wife, and she invited me to come speak at one.
I learned so many habits from Prophet Pam, and just a lot about how to keep going, how to not take no for an answer, how not to quit. And a lot of people, that's why they say you have to serve before you can lead, because it matters.
That's right.
You pick up so much stuff when you serve, because I mean, that just watching her work ethics just helped me to be the businesswoman that I am. There was no problem that could arise, and she was like, no, we're going to work this out. We're not taking no for answer. Don't tell me it can't get done. We were like, we can't get done. She was like, yes, it can. She was like, get back in that room.
That's what I love about her.
Get back in that room, and don't y'all come out until y'all have a solution. And we were just being there looking at each other like, what is wrong with this lady?
And what she want us to do?
Yeah, like, we don't know. And like when she asked us to rewrite the Star song, we were like, well, this is what we got. She was like, nah, that ain't it. I was like,
that's not what I wanted.
She make you.
And I love her for that.
Rise,
I love her for that.
I love her for that too. I will never forget that stuff. I was like, every time I feel like I want to quit or it's too hard, I hear her in my head say, And so you need that. You need to serve. So there are things when you're talking about living a purpose-filled life, there are seasons that you go through. We talked about the season of coming out from amongst some of the friends that you hang around. And I want to encourage y'all. I did a really good segment with Carmen McKinley last Sunday on friendships. That session was so powerful. Y'all really need to go listen to that. We're gonna come back for a part 2, because just hearing some of the things that she had to say about how people come for your character. Like you were saying, I wanted to address what you said about the school, because even though you just said that, whatever you said in the hallway about the teachers, and that Slack came back to you about, oh, you made me feel, that's another tactic for the enemy to shut your voice down, to make you feel like
and
you
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I'm
not gonna lie. I basically, they said that I offended them, but I shut up for a while, and then somebody else came to me and they said, we don't want you to lose your voice, and it clicked. And I told that person, I said, I could never lose my voice because I'm doing what I was born to do.
Right.
Like teaching and speaking, being able to do it, that's what I was born to do. It's a difference between somebody who come there for a paycheck and somebody who show up for purpose. That's purpose for me. It's different whenever you're gifted in something and you're just doing something. It's not a job to me. I'm working, I'm operating in my gifts. So what they saw as a physical attack, I knew that this is something going on in the spiritual realm. I can't fight this here. I'm not going to win.
And a lot of people are just immature.
I'm not of the world.
That's true. Lot of people are just immature. Like my grandmother used to say, a hit dog gonna holler. Now, if it did not apply to you what I said about the bathroom, then you should have just kept up on your merry way. But it's just the enemy, like God have a purpose. One thing that God really kind of showed me is that how the enemy tries to copy him. It tries to mimic him. Like God is very strategic in the things that he does. He orchestrates our lives. And I feel like the enemy tries to copy that. He tries to orchestrate too. So he dangles things in our face and put offenses. Like the Bible says, he roams the earth and just to study to see who can he get. And so when he see that you have a little sensitivity, he'll cause some conversation, some dialogue, something to happen to shake your confidence. Your confidence, because when you're not confident, you don't perform at your best. So it all starts with confidence. That's why I'm so hard on confidence, because you have to have that confidence got to be on lock. It's just like your most prized possession, like your kids,
yes,
like your heart,
is.
Because you got to protect it. Because once he get in there and start making you self-doubt, well, maybe I shouldn't have said it. Maybe I shouldn't have said it. And not that we can't be checked on some stuff, because we can. But also
we can. We have room to be corrected.
Right. But we apologize. We get it right. And then if it's another issue, I'm going to speak, but maybe I won't speak as hard, but I'm going to still say it. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. And that's what I was like, okay, Lord, what do you want me to what do you want me to learn from this? Because we really have to ask that question when we go through things. What do you want me to learn from this? Because again, it's happening for me. What am I supposed to get out of it? Right. And what I realized is that it was a reminder of how powerful my voice was, is that I'm being heard. I got that. You're being heard. The gift is still within you, but you need to tune up what you're saying and how you're saying it. And I didn't feel that I said anything wrong, but what I'm realizing is that the children of God, we all come from many different homes, many backgrounds, and we have different types of pain. And I didn't put down how she felt, or how the teacher felt about it. But at the same time, I realized that that may have been something that I may have hit a nerve or a pain that she's experienced in life. And it helped me to see about the sister, to be honest. And I just, the Lord has truly changed my heart. Like, I'm so patient and kind-hearted with people. Somebody, told me that they felt that I was too nice to the kids. And it's not that I'm too nice to them. It's the fact that, God is good to me. Grace is given to me daily. I don't want, it's unmerited, undeserved favor, but it's upon me daily. So who am I to not give that same grace to kids or to other adults? So we just need to be mindful of, our purpose, and that we're not using our gifts for bad, or and somebody always that the enemy don't make offense.
They're always trying to get us to do things, their way. We all have our own journeys, and you take constructive criticism because there's nothing wrong with it. But I don't know. I just know people, some people think it has to be done this way, or it has to be done that way. And I don't. I just listen to my internal compass. If I get out of line, I feel like I hear it inside first. And when somebody else says it, that's confirming it for me. People will tell you all kind of stuff. Well, I think you too loud. I think you too this. Those are personal opinions based on who you are. Maybe your mama told you to shut up all your life when you were growing up. So I don't really, I just try to make life as simple as possible, It is what it is, but you learn from the situation, which is all about purpose and pain. That's what we're talking about today, guys. We're sorry about the interruption in the broadcast, but we've been talking about like purpose and pain, because just because God called you to do something doesn't mean it's always going to be easy. It wasn't easy for Jesus to do what he did. When I read something in the Bible recently, when Jesus got ready to go to the cross, I don't know why I had in my mind that I thought Jesus was just like, yeah, come on, I know what I'm here for. But
me too.
I thought he was like, all right, But when I just read that how he sat there, and just prayed and was, like, God, do I really have to? That was not, I don't know where, those is probably one of those cliche misconceptions that you hear in Christianity. But when I really took some time to read that scripture, it was like, even though Jesus came here to die for us, that was still tasking for him. And I feel like it's like that with us.
Very hard.
We have a purpose.
It's very hard.
It's difficult dealing with people sometimes, for one. So like your profession, your purpose, talking to people. Some days you may not feel like talking to people. You may feel like, I don't want to talk to nobody.
Look, a lot of days you said something.
Because I get like that too. I'm like, who's calling my phone? I don't want to do this.
You're on social overload.
Like, leave me alone. But then it's like, look, you can't get tired. If you tired, you ain't scheduling enough self-care, for one. It's just like, why do I have to talk to people? I'm funny like that, but I love people, but I just sometimes be like, Lord, you know I don't fool with people like that,
Exactly.
But he got a sense of humor, and he orchestrates. I guess he say, look, you gonna have to get over that. Life is just not, I love people, but sometimes they can just be so difficult. I just don't like being around anybody because it's, because of my confidence, I need to keep that on lock. And if I see you one of those people that try to stick a pin and poke to see how, and if you can really bust that confidence bubble, I'm putting that shield up on you, and so
and that's why a lot of our pain comes from people doing that to us our whole life. Just constantly knocking our confidence, just kind of knocking us down. You're not good enough. You don't look right. You're not the perfect figure. You're not, your voice is not smooth and calm and everybody love it. It's just like constantly being criticized. And I went to the STAR conference this past summer, and I
Mhm.
forgot the pastor name, but she's from London, I believe. What is her
Oh,
name?
Morena, Dr.
Dr.
Morena?
Yes. She
Mhm.
said that even from a little kid, she was always around people who criticized her.
Yes.
And she would always wonder, why am I constantly, enduring these type of situations, or why am I constantly being put around these people? And she was just saying how it was like sandpaper to her.
Mm.
And that I'm sorry, I had an interruption. She said it was like
No problem.
sandpaper, constantly buffing her out. And I took that and I said, Lord, I have always been around people who criticized me, who I thought, offended me or talked about
Mhm.
me. But what I realized is that pain that people hurt made me love people more. It made me gravitate towards people. And I developed the power to say no and to
Mhm.
block offenses. I learned that every offense that's thrown in the air, I don't have to accept it.
That's right.
Because when I was younger, everything offended. Like, oh my God, they're talking about me. They don't like this about me. What am I gonna do?
Mhm.
But as I got older, I realized that so what? So
Mhm.
what? Because God has already spoken to me about my purpose. Everybody
Mhm.
won't understand that. And the moment I become okay with the fact that everybody doesn't understand what God is doing in your life or for you, then they can say whatever they want to say. They just will not understand
Right.
it. Even if you showed it to them, they still couldn't understand because it's not
Mhm.
theirs. They have to tap into their own purpose. And why
That's
am
it.
I even feeling some type of way about people who are not taking care of them? So
Yeah.
I realized that if you got enough time to hurt the people and to constantly be in other people's business, then you're not taking care of yourself. You're
That's
not taking care of yourself.
and it's in those pains too, just like excuse me, y'all. It's in those pains too, just like you're saying. Those pains teach us so much because when we feel like
Yeah.
we've hurt the most, like God is very close to the brokenhearted, and you feel him. It's you feel him in a totally different way when you've been brokenhearted. He really like draws close to you
Yeah.
and heals those wounds, because dealing with people, I think that's probably more so my issue with people is the number
People hurt.
wounds. But now that I look back on it, like God always tell me, but what did you learn from that? Like, so you focus on the wounds, but what did you learn to emerge? Like, what now
Exactly.
can you take from that relationship and pull over into why do you think I had you to connect with that person? Like, what was that
Mm-hmm.
connection for? Even though it may not be there anymore, or even though maybe it didn't work, but why? Like I tell you, God is very strategic. So I believe every
Yes, very.
it's like at the time he'll give you grace to not even pay attention to this person that could turn around and sabotage you because you need something from them. It just in the end they sabotage you, but what did you learn from it?
What did you learn?
What did
That's
you
that's the lesson. That's the important part. What did you learn?
learn?
Did
Yeah.
it didn't break you, so it obviously made something
Mhm.
in you grow. And I have to learn that for some reason I have this thing where I tell people I specialize in hard people, which is the truth. Because a
Mhm.
lot of times I'm assigned to a lot of hard children, hard adults, or I'm assigned to dark places, like different jobs and schools I worked at, and even the college that I went to, I
Mhm.
was assigned to that place. And just realizing that, I have to figure out the why. Why is this happening? What am I supposed to get from this?
Mhm.
Just realizing that it's not about what I see, because what we see is 9 times out of 10, what we see has nothing to do with what he wants us to get from that.
That's it.
So I have to go and I have to constantly seek him, like, Lord, what is it? What is it? Because a lot of
Right.
times I don't see the bright side of things.
He's like, all
I
you
had
hear him
to,
say is keep pushing, just come on. And you like, but
I'm gonna
don't
show
you
you
don't see
later.
this happening right here? He like, come on,
Exactly.
come
You didn't see this
on.
person just stab me in my back.
Like we need to deal with
No,
that. He like, come on, just keep walking. And that's hard
that's
to
not what I wanted you to do.
right. Like that's why I had this thing where I say focus on the bigger picture and you won't sweat the
Mm-hmm.
small stuff. So I feel like the bigger picture is the purpose. Like focus on why you're here. And all these other people you got, like the Bible says, if God is for you, it don't matter who be against you. And so that's just what it
Right.
has to boil down to. You want to let the enemy use you and think you'll never be able to get over on me just because of that scripture right there. I don't care if you got a whole army.
Right.
I don't care if you want to launch an investigation, get the school district to come down, call the superintendent. You will never be able to take
Well,
me out. You know,
Exactly.
you can't do
And
it.
then another thing that I'm just realizing is that is nothing worse than an untold story. So a lot of people who are walking around hurt, the saying said, hurt people hurt people. So when I encounter certain people that they're still sitting in their pain, I don't sit in my pain. I took my pain and I turned it into power. I turned it into purpose. But I cannot expect that of anybody else, you know. So when I realize that, oh, this person is experiencing pain, I just try to empower them. But at the end of the day, realizing that help can become hurt when somebody you're helping doesn't realize that you're helping them. You know, they can become a burden to you. So just realizing that, everything that happened is for a reason. And outside of that, you can take that pain, that story, and tell it to somebody else and pull them out of their situation. Because it's a lot of times that I couldn't tell my story without crying or weeping. I'm talking about big time crying. But once I got to a stage in my life where I can tell my story without the tears, without feeling it here no more, just being able to truly tell somebody I went through this and I made it and you can make it too, life became easier. Telling my story became easy. So, we tell, and I think that we're taught to be quiet because the Black community, I'm not gonna lie, just focusing on us, the Black community, it was told to us, don't tell nobody nothing that happens in our house.
What
Don't tell
goes on in
nobody
this
our
house
business.
stays in this house.
Exactly. So a lot of people from my age on up, they're experiencing hurt and pain in their life, and then they're not able to voice it or they're not able to heal from it because people have told them to shut up. To shut up about it, or people will down you. Oh, I didn't know that was happening in your house. I didn't know, your mama went through that. Just constantly criticizing you for going through. When that's my testimony, why are you criticizing my testimony instead of learning from it? Why can't you be like me? So just realizing that people have a lot of pain that they're not able to speak about because of the shame, people shaming, and because of them. I guess I want to say, how can I put this? People shaming as well as them not dealing with it. So when you haven't dealt with your pain yet and you can't tell your story without, the breaking down, because you're gonna have your moments. But when you can't tell your story, it's nothing worse than an untold story being buried inside of you.
That's it.
Like
That's it. That's
nothing
where
worse
a
than
lot
that.
of our issues come from. Just like the Bible say, out of the heart comes the issues. And a lot of us still
Right.
have those things from our childhood in our hearts because we haven't dealt with those things. And I'm so excited about 2020 because that's really like my vision with my morning coffee podcast. It's just we need to be better people and we need to do whatever we
Yeah.
do to do that. We need to deal with our issues. We need to tell it, get it out, do the work on ourselves and get ourselves in a better place so we can be better people to each other. And so I'm excited
Yeah. We
about
got to
that.
do the work. I'm excited about that as well. I will be in attendance because I
Yes.
mean we have to, being healthy is a continuous thing. You can't say, oh, I'm healed, it's a miracle, and not continue to do the work. You got to continue to do the work. You have to continue to, if you're healed, go out and heal others.
I'm listening.
You
Go ahead. I'm
know,
sorry. My
and
idiot.
when I speak to people about different experiences I had in my life, I realized, one, I didn't know that I was going to be married at 23. So a lot of the things I complained about with old relationships or, just things that I've been through, I didn't realize that I would be a wife so early on. And it was beneficial to my marriage as well as me becoming a woman and me having my own family, my own house, my own household. A lot of the things that I went through at an early age, I was upset and angry about it my whole life. But then when I came to a point where my mama told me, you're getting ready to go to college, I couldn't make a decision. She made one for me. It was the best decision she could have ever made. But she dropped me off at college, and I realized everything that I went through prepared me for this moment because I started to see people go home. I started to see people, flunk out their classes, and I'm like, why are y'all so hurt about having to eat a sandwich? Why are you so hurt about having to eat some noodles? And I was excited about it
Like
because
what?
here I am.
No.
I'm like, why are you so hurt? Because you can't get brand new shoes. And I realized that the things that I went through as a child, as an adult, I was like not concerned about material things or I knew how to be a friend to others. I knew how to care for other people. And when I became a wife, I knew how to be in a relationship because I knew what I wanted and what I didn't want, what I would put up with, what I wouldn't put up with. I knew how to build with somebody. I had, this intellect on a whole nother level. And I realized, like you said, God is very strategic in how he do
Very.
things. I never knew I would be a teacher. I never knew I'd be a teacher, but I endured a lot of teachers that hurt it, who would
Mm-hmm.
say like negative things, like, you know, they treated us different. The kids, single parents, they treat the other kids. And I was smart.
Mm-hmm.
All that discernment, so I can discern whenever they were doing what they were doing. And I realized that it was his plan. He had a specific life. And now I go on to be what I needed as a child. Just being able to teach kids and
Mm-hmm.
lift them up. I go to the door every morning and I greet my kids because I need to see you. I need to see if you're ready for this day. Because if not, I'm gonna have to give you a little confidence. I'm gonna have to put some
That's
confidence coins
good.
in their bucket, you know, at the
And that's
door.
one way you
And
turn your purpose
that's
in.
what we need to do for each other.
We do. That's one way to turn your pain into purpose. It's like, you know, the things that affected you. To me, that's the way you do it. Those are signs of purpose. Like things that hurt you, things that bother you. These are clues. These things bother you for a reason. And like you go through that and you don't get it at the time. But when you grow up
Hmm.
and now you go back and look at the puzzle pieces that you picked up and you start looking at the picture,
Yeah,
it all makes sense. It's like, oh my
it
God. So
makes sense in hindsight.
that's why that teacher was mean to me to show me what not to do. That situation gave you compassion at the end of the
Exactly.
day, you see? So it's like, you know, everything ain't
Right.
perfect, but if you just pick up the puzzle pieces and connect them with what's already in you, um, you in the end you'll see the bigger picture that God is very strategic. You thought that nobody loved you
Right.
or the teacher didn't love you, so or you just a nobody, not you in specific, but just in general.
Hmm.
You know, these are things that make people feel
Hmm.
like nobodies, and all the time God is just like, see, this is just what not to do. This encounter showed you what not to do. Now let's move on to the next level.
And that's right. That's
Well,
right. And you
Kanisha,
know, just
I've
I,
definitely enjoyed our conversation. I want to ask you one question before we go because it's almost an hour now.
uh-huh.
I want to let you get to your family. Can you just give us a couple of tips on like how can you take some of your pain and turn it into purpose? Like just give a few little tips or something or any type of closing remarks you may have about that.
Yes, I just want to encourage women to tell their truth, because you honestly can't do anything with the pain until you be honest about it, that this hurt me. And you know, you take that and you love on other people, because you're gonna know when you come in contact with people who have, you know, familiar spirits, or people who endured something that you're going through or been through. So I want to encourage you to take that, to place that in your heart, and to go hard for that each and every day, whether it's self-esteem, confidence, whether it's just purpose, whatever it is. I want you to tell your truth about it and be able to go hard for other people, because it's truly going to lift when we lift others up and we encourage others to rise, we rise too.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going
Absolutely.
it's not going to dim my light if I help another sister shine. So I make sure that I tell them the truth. I be honest about who I am and what I've been through, and I continue to raise other people up, to help them to rise. And that's all I want to encourage other people to do, to take what you've been through, make something out of that, help that to, you know, strengthen who you are, strengthen your voice, tell your truth, and never let nobody shut you up.
Well, those are some good nuggets. And I just want to add, you know, in closing, just to I had a thought I was gonna say it. Oh, I hear this. To deal with your issues. If you are someone, maybe you grew up in a toxic family or an abusive relationship, or maybe you saw that in your family, I just want to encourage you to deal with your issues and not to wait till y'all get to the Thanksgiving table and
That's
blurt out
right.
your issues. I want to encourage you to really, you know, if you have to get a therapist or something, they don't cost that much, but it's
Hmm.
worth the investment because you need to get those things out of you. You need to talk to somebody that can talk you and walk you through the right way to address those issues, and realize that you may not always
Exactly.
get the apology from whoever violated you or mishandled you or mistreated
Hmm.
you. But I think that a good therapist will still help you to be able to even maneuver through that, you know, because it's hard trying to live a life of purpose when you have a lot of old dead baggage on you. And so you matter,
That's right.
you're valuable. If even if for those that mistreated you, they were out of
Hmm.
line because you didn't deserve to be treated like that. Nobody
Right.
deserves to be talked to any kind of way, no matter what mistakes you make. And I say that because I know sometimes those things can make us feel inadequate and worthless, and like we don't have a purpose, and like God can't use us
Exactly.
because I made too many mistakes. But you were born with a purpose. God already put it on the inside of you. You have the master plan on the inside of you. And if you can just get yourself to a place of forgiveness and self-love and self-care, I believe that plan will be revealed to you, and that you will get on track no matter how old you are. You can be 50, 60, 70 years old. You still have a purpose. And if you're still breathing and you don't know that purpose, you still have time to discover
You
that.
still have time. You
And
still have
whatever
time, and remember that your attitude
Mhm.
will be everything within finding your purpose. You know, you have to have a good attitude, and knowing that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. So watch your actions and your reactions, and that's pretty much how you take your pain and you turn it into purpose.
I like that point, Kanisha. All right, so watch your actions and your reactions. And look, for those of you that listen to my morning coffee, I say that all the time. Your actions and your reactions. It's your actions and your
That's right.
reactions. We spend a lot of time focusing on the other person, and we don't never look at some of us. We don't look at our own behavior. We don't look at how we treated
That's
people. We
right.
don't look at how we said it. I'm not getting into my morning coffee spiel because that's morning coffee, but I just want to plug it up.
But take a touch on that. Yeah.
Yes, but I have enjoyed our segment, Kanisha. Thank you so much
Me too.
for joining
Thank
me for
you.
Girls Chat. Now, next week, I'm bringing the panel back. I did a panel before, but next week we start a new series, and it's called This and That. And so we're going to talk about things that women need to